bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum. Hi, friends. I see everyone coming in, all my old friends. Hi, Harry. Hi, Junette and Dally and Carrie and Melissa and Elizabeth. And what's this? Hank and boys. Stacy. Oh, it's wonderful to see you all. Grazia from Maryland and Mary Lou. And lots of, oh, I love it. It's the same folks, and and then some new ones too. Susan from Massachusetts, and Mary Lou's from Florida, and hi, Olivia. Hi, Phyllis. And Joanne from Bullard, Texas. Always sing along with you. Do you, Lori? Happy first day of fall. Yeah. Hi, all you fellow learners and wise teacher from Oklahoma. Hi, Angela. Howdy, Joette from Texas. Hugs and kisses from Elizabeth. Yes, back to you too, Elizabeth. It's so great to see you all. Thanks, friends. Thanks for joining me. I can't tell you how much I love doing this with you every week. And so I'm very grateful for you because, as I've said before, there was a time when I would talk about homeopathy and how to use it and its great abilities, and no one was listening. So I just want to tell you, it's Monday night. And every Monday night we do the same thing and one thing and the same thing. Every single Monday night we go over homeopathy. I teach you what I know. And I like to answer your questions. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Joette Calabrese. And for those who do know me, hi again, friends. Greetings from Massachusetts, says Margaret. Okay, let's talk, because tonight we're going to do just questions. Every once in a while, there's no specific topic, just questions that come in. Now, I have to warn you, I can't take cases. And let me tell you why I can't take a case. And you might say, well, this isn't really a question. I just have a question about what remedy should I use for this condition. Well, in a way, it's asking a case because I need to know more about the case. There are specific medicines. I'm going to remind you, for those of you who already know and for those who don't know, that there are specific homeopathic medicines with the potency and frequency that we call protocols for specific conditions. We often can do that, and I love doing that because that's kind of the underpinnings of using, or at least getting people started on using practical homeopathy, which is a different method. I've actually coined the word practical homeopathy. And so I want you to know that there are often very simple solutions. Now, I'm not going to tell you that it's 100% because, my friends, nothing's 100%. I'm not going to tell you that this absolutely cures, because in many cases it cures. In other cases it doesn't do anything. In other cases it does a partial nudge. But if we're using a Banerjee protocol, we have learned that with the Banerjee protocols, in 80 to 85% of all cases that are treated with this particular medicine for this specific condition, we will see a result. Does that mean 100% that they will be cured? No. Can it mean cured? Yes, it can. Does it mean that this is the only way to cure it? No. But it does give us 80 to 85% is a very high number when we know that if we've chosen the medicine correctly. And one of the great issues about choosing the medicine correctly is to know what it is you're treating. Now, sometimes we don't know what it is. Sometimes we have no idea. Modern medicine can't give us any idea. We can only maybe take slightly a guess, and then in that case we're going to use symptoms. And even when we know the name of the condition, we're still going to consider symptoms. Why? Because symptoms don't lie. Symptoms are real. They're not theoretical. They're not guesswork. When the person reports that the pain is on the left side of the head and that it's pounding, that is not a lie. That's not something that we dismiss and say, oh, it's just a headache. No, we use that information. So we can use a medicine that's very specific, for example, for headaches. such as, well, we could use Napier, we could use picric acid mixed with belladonna. There are a lot of medicines. We could use sepia. They're great medicines for headaches. But if those medicines don't act, especially the first medicine, which will address about 80 to 85% of cases, if it's a migraine headache, we often find picric acid mixed with belladonna is the medicine in 80 to 85% cases, as long as it is indeed a migraine. And let me say parenthetically, my friends, that people don't necessarily always know what migraine means. A lot of people think that a migraine simply means a very painful headache. That's not what it means at all, because a sinus headache can be very painful as well. It is a very specific kind of a headache. But if they have that and they try picric acid with belladonna and they use it as needed, as directed, as I direct on my blog and in other areas of the work that I put out to the general public, that they can pretty much count on it acting in most cases. But if it doesn't act, then we might have to go to a second level, or we might have to go to simply using the symptoms. The fact that it's pounding, it's on the left side only. Okay. All right. So, so what I'm asking for is not cases. And by cases, let me go back and I'll go back to my original statement. And that was, I can't tell you what is the remedy for. What remedy should I use for this? Or this, my sister has this, and I don't know what to do. And I understand the frustration that people have, but I'm going to tell you that when I take a case like that and somebody says, well, my sister has this condition, I have to say, is she 12? Is she going through menarche? Did she just have a baby? Is she 30? Is she 80 and on 7 drugs? What are the drugs? What are the side effects of the drugs? What other conditions are associated with this condition, or even seemingly unassociated? So there's a lot of information that has to be gathered in order to be able to give a correct information. Now, when it comes to a specific, as I said, certain conditions, I can give you protocols, and that's what my blog does. That's what I endeavor to do on my blog. And so I urge you to check my blog. It's published every Sunday night at the end of the day. And I've been doing it for, I've lost count. I want to say 14 years, every Sunday night, never missed a single week in 14 years. So I don't know how many, what is that, 14 times 52, whatever that is, all of those are different protocols for different conditions. And so I urge you, if you have a question tonight, see if you can come up with a question that I've not already answered by simply just Joette Calabrese in the name of the condition. So let's see. Let's look at Veronica's question. Classicals confuse me, for which I am still a little scared to use multiple remedies in a given day. Can I use multiple protocols simultaneously? Yes, you may. You don't want to use lots of them. We try to find one that acts in general, if at all possible, and then another one that acts in general. What I mean by that is each of these medicines, friends, have a sweeping ability. And so if you look up sepia, it's a great medicine for ailments from birth control pills. It's a great medicine for headaches, regardless of whether it's a man or a woman. It's a great remedy for prolapsed uterus. So you can see there are many, many areas that sepia will cover. So let me just answer this. The classicals confuse me, for which I'm still a little scared. Do you ever buy any of the boron products or OHM products or Washington's products or Helios's products that include, or Newton's products? These are homeopathic manufacturers, they're pharmacies, and they mix medicines together on a regular basis. Once you see that you could buy a teething tablet that has 3 or 4 medicines mixed in one medicine, once you see that you could purchase a remedy called Cold Calm from Boron, or Emergency from Helios, and it's got 3 or 4 medicines, then you start realizing, wait a minute, I think I'm missing out on something. These pharmacies are not just throwing some remedies up on the wall to see what sticks. I have to admit, I used to think that because I was classical. And I was trained to believe that you should not be using more than one medicine at a time. Well, how many years have you got? How many decades have you got? It takes a long time to use one medicine and hope that it covers everything. I'm being a little facetious here and a little sophomoric in my explanation as to how classical works, because there's more to it than that. But let me just say that if you try two medicines simultaneously, such as hyper-Rs, hypericum mixed with arsenicum, one of our best medicines. Hypericum 200 mixed with arsenicum 200 for deep infections, not throat infections, but more often dental or skin infections, that kind of thing. It's one of the great Banerjee protocols. Okay, let's see what else we've got. Love Sepia says, is it Samler? Okay. Let's see. Okay, do you think that a little knowledge of the basic principles and workings of herbs helps, or does it just muddle the process of finding remedies in a materia medica? No, I think it can help, Angela. No, I think it can help. In fact, I also discuss a lot of, in many of my courses, I use a lot of botanicals. We use Crataegus. That's a baseline medicine that we use, and it is a botanical. It's not potentized for most cardiac conditions, for example. Okay, speaking today, Trump thinks Tylenol is the only remedy for pain but can cause autism. Can we use other remedies for vaccine side effects? Well, he's talking about it for pain. I see, related to side effects. Can we use other remedies for side effects? Certainly. I have a whole course called Pain, Make It Stop. Joette's Learning Center, scroll down and go to the course titled Pain, Make It Stop. Now, it depends on what kind of pain it is. Is it pain at the site where it's swollen and hard and red and painful? Or are we talking about it causing joint pains? That's a whole different thing. This one would be perhaps ledum, joint pain everywhere after any kind of treatment. It doesn't matter whether or not it's an injection or not. Any kind of allopathic treatment. Joint pain would be Rhus-Tox. Pain that is a sharp pain that feels as though it's something is sticking into us, like sticking even in the joints, etc. It might be something like silica. So it all depends on what the symptoms are. Okay. All righty. Let's see what else we've got. I thought he talked about it for fever, not pain. I don't know that it really matters because the stuff is really dangerous. It is dangerous. There is no such thing as a drug that doesn't have something dangerous aspect to it. It doesn't mean we never use them. It means that we save them for something that's really serious. If you get hit by a Zamboni, because it's been after me for a long time, and you're run over and you're flattened, my friends, you may need drugs when they take you into the hospital to reattach your arm back to your shoulder. You may need drugs. You're still going to use homeopathy along the way. But let me just read this to you. The person who takes medicines, that means synthetic, not homeopathic, synthetic drugs of commerce, that's my personal addition to this, must recover twice. Once from the disease and once from the medicine. That was written by Sir William Osler, MD, was one of the founding fathers of Johns Hopkins. I'm going to repeat that. Somebody said they had their pen and paper ready for tonight. I'm going to repeat it. Take a look at it. Sir William Osler, MD, father of modern internal medicine and founder of Johns Hopkins. The person who takes medicines, that means he means synthetic drugs, must recover twice. Once from the disease and once from the drug, once from the medicine. What does that tell us, regardless of whether it's for fever or pain or discomfort or psychological reasons? It matters not. These drugs are not in alignment with our body's natural ability to correct. And our default, my friends, is good health, but not if we sabotage it with synthetics. Whether the synthetic is in as a drug being swallowed, whether it's something that's being smeared, whether it's something being injected, it matters not. Our default is good health as long as we don't tinker with synthetics. Now, I'm old enough to remember when synthetics were very, very uncommon. Sunscreen, there wasn't such a thing. Drug for if you have a sore on you might take aspirin, but even aspirin is not one of the worst. But even aspirin is questionable. I'm not saying that it should never be used, my friends, but it should be used thoughtfully. I have another question here. Wait a minute, where did I see that? Where did it go? Yeah, I repeat this all the time to my clients and family, etc., says Lori. Yes. Sepia actually makes a prolapsed uterus go back into place without surgery? Smiling Tree Branches asks. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen more than once. Now, I'm not saying that it will work in every case. I'm not saying it will be 100%. I'm saying that it is the medicine that is used for a prolapse. Yes, for a uterine prolapse. Yes, my dear. Yes. We can turn a baby in utero with homeopathy. Did you know that? You mean it can be done without a cesarean section? Yes. That's why this medicine is so gobsmacking, because it covers all conditions. And again, I'm not going to tell you that it is 100%, because I've worked with women, and the baby was traverse or was in the wrong, regardless of what the position was. The baby was not in the right position, and it was time for birthing. And I've used pulsatilla, and it has never failed me. The Banerjees, however, use lycopodium. Both medicines have acted. Okay. Okay, I had an appointment with Dr. Prateep Banerjee Memorial Clinic last week, and why do they specify their remedies in liquid over pellets? They don't do it for everything, but whenever they say, that's what I would do. And I'm going to tell you that the reason they probably say to do that is because that particular protocol is better in liquid, and that's how I teach the protocols. Some of the protocols are used in pellets, and some of the protocols are used in liquid. What do you think about radioactive remedies like plutonium and uranium nitricum, for example? The more toxic the original substance, once it's diluted and made into homeopathic medicine, often the more valuable it is to our materia medica. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Phoenicia says, I use pulsatilla to turn my last baby who was transverse. You bet. That's it. Thank you, Phoenicia. Yeah, it works. It works. I have been there when it has happened. I've attended those births, and I've also been remotely involved. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Let's see. No, you're here with us, Donna. When Symphytum is used for jaw cavitation and the jawbone heals, where does the pus and gunk go that was in the cavitation? Biological dentist assistant is curious. What do you mean, where does it go? Where does it go when anything heals? When you have an infection, let's say you have a boil on your thigh, and when it goes away, where does it go? What do you mean, where does it go? It just, the body takes care of it. It's absorbed. It's taken care of. It's such an odd question. Sorry, I don't mean to be curt about that, but that's a very odd question. Where does the fever go when someone is sick? Where does the blood go when someone is hemorrhaging? The body takes care of it. That's what it does, because these medicines are a gentle stimulus to correct the condition. It's a gentle little nudge. All right, let's see what else we've got. Is there a difference between Crataegus occidentalis and Crataegus levigata? They are often, I use occidentalis. So yes, there is a difference, but the only way you're going to know the difference is if you open your materia medica and really read, and you'll be able to pull apart what the differences are. Is hyperRS considered high for a chronic condition? I'm not sure I know what that means. It's precise for a chronic condition if it's the right medicine for that particular condition. I don't know what you mean by high. It could be that what you're thinking is, I don't want to go too high, maybe because you've had some training in classical homeopathy, which does frighten people into believing that you can't use a 200 potency, or you shouldn't use it, you should only use 30s, at least for a long time. Okay. Karen says, I would love to know the answer to April's rash question too. Do you need to know if it is fungal or just treat rash? Well, I would start with what you do know. Do you know that it's fungal? Then you could start with that. If you don't know it's fungal, but all you know is that it's a rash and it's itchy and the skin is cracking and oozing, then you go with the symptoms. You're going with rash and the symptoms. If that doesn't act, or you find out later, or it only partially acts, or you find out that it was fungal, then why not? Let's get the more information we've got, the better. Let's see. I love Hawthorne, says Jen. You're helping each other. It's so good. Another question came in. Where did it go? Is anyone a homeopathic veterinarian or no one? I'm in South Central PA, York, Harrisburg, Hershey. I'm willing to do FaceTime. Yeah, a lot of good. Well, we do have we have one, a person who just, did she graduate from the academy? My Academy of Practical Homeopathy. Go to Find a Practical Homeopath. .com, and there's a veterinarian there who's a whippersnapper. I've also interviewed her. Now, where was that interview? It was in my Mighties program, Joette's Mighty Members. I interviewed her, and I'm sorry her name is eluding me right now. Anybody who's been in that class for the Academy of Practical Homeopathy, if you happen to know that veterinarian's name, please drop it in here. Okay. Prodromal labor, also known as false labor, is not the same as Braxton Hicks, but is the protocol the same? I don't think I would treat Braxton Hicks. I would assume that's just a natural response, and it's what it's supposed to happen. The body's kind of revving up. But and false labor is Braxton. I suppose it's Braxton Hicks has gone askew, I suppose. You could possibly use the same medicine, yes. Oh, Lori, thank you. You did a great interview with a veterinarian on your podcast. So go to my podcast and you'll find it. I couldn't remember where I had interviewed her. She's been doing this for a very long time. Where are you getting these questions? Well, I've got 3 different methods here. I've got YouTube, I've got Mighties, and that's why I'm getting questions from a number of different venues here. That's why you're wondering where all of these questions are coming from. Yeah, I would love to know if there's a remedy work for labor pain with potency, please. Sam L. Haber asks that. Okay, friends. Tell Sam what the remedy is, what one of the medicines are that we use. I mean, there are a number of medicines, but let me also tell you, you might want to go to the course, Joette's Learning Center, scroll down to Feminopathy, because that covers everything. But yeah, there are, Magfos is certainly one. I won't answer. Let's see if we can get some people to answer here. Any remedies that help a person to lose weight? They've tried everything. Yeah, I've written about that on my blog. I've talked about it on my podcast. We had a baby turn with pulsatilla, says Teddy. You bet. Yep. And if it doesn't turn, the question might be, you mean you can turn a baby in utero without a cesarean section? Without going through? Yes, my friends. Isn't this exciting? Okay. Let's see what some of these other questions are here. Elizabeth says, have you tried antimonium crude mixed with arsenicum album, Sue? And people are helping each other. Thank you. It's very good. Here's a holistic veterinarian. Dr. Janie Wilson, links to the podcast she did with Joette for podcast 131. There we go. Now, she calls herself a holistic veterinarian, but she uses homeopathy. That's a step higher as far as I'm concerned. She was one of my better students, so I'm very happy to have someone pass that name along. Let's see, we've got some other questions over here too, and let's see. So I saw on a Joette note somewhere that 30C daily can help with fleas. My cats are happy with this protocol. Thought it might be ear mites and not fleas. Okay. And you're helping each other. How long should I take these medicines for? Well, the easy question is this, or the easy answer to that question is this: for as long as it's needed. As long as you know that the medicine is correct. And how would you know that? Because you're seeing improvement. As long as you see improvement, generally speaking, because sometimes we don't see improvement for a long period of time. For example, food intolerances can sometimes take many, 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 many months to clear up. Allergies can often take many months. On the other hand, if we see that the food intolerance is a little better than it was before, and the person by accident had some gluten and they're improving a little, then I would not abandon that medicine. I would stay with it. Let's see, what do you think of causing the low white blood count in so many people? I'm not sure I know what you're referring to. It's probably a question that's prior. Let's see. Karen says, for the Magfast 200, I sip it much less frequently than the 6. Not yet. That's right. Not more than every 15 minutes to once an hour, only as needed according to severity. And Karen, my guess is you're either talking about leg cramps or you're talking about birthing. Arnica 3 or 6 for stent to stay open instead of aspirin, says Jay Lynn. Yeah, this is what I teach, my friends. All of you folks are answering each other's questions with what I've been teaching, and I'm delighted. Let's see. Any remedies that can help a person, okay, lose weight. I think that I really think that the best way to lose weight is, I've battled weight myself. And I find that, I'm going to be probably talking about it one of these days. I find that we have to stop snacking. I can make it real easy. Stop snacking. No more than 3 meals in a day. More likely, the best is really 1 meal in a day. And cut out the carbs. Get rid of the carbs and sweets. Just cut them out. Just, bite the bullet and get rid of them. Eat eggs and bacon and butter and beef, lamb, chicken, fish. And you will lose weight, because it is an insulin problem more often than not. I'm oversimplifying, but I'm telling you that's what I find with my clients and myself and my family. Within the past hour, I renewed my Mighty membership, but I'm still unable to get on Mighty members. But I have a question. With arthroscopic surgery, is it prudent to use Leadum 200 along with Arnica and Hypericum for the healing and the pain? I would not think of Leadum. I think of when it's a clean incision, because it is still an incision. Okay, friends, what's the clean incision remedy? I don't know if you could hear that clap of thunder that just passed by us. Who has the remedy for clean incision? Let's see. I've heard calc carb, but also heard that would cause people to gain weight. Now, why would calc carb help people to gain or cause people to gain weight? Why do you think? Let's think about this for a minute. If you have no itching and you use arsenicum album, which is an itching medicine, what do you suppose might happen if you take it over and over and over and over and over? We're going to get itching, right? If you take calc carb and it's not the correct medicine, people think, oh, it's just for weight loss. No, it can be for weight loss if the remedy fits the picture of the person that's suffering. It's got to be specific. Just like arsenicum album has to be specific for that person, for that person's symptoms. It will make you gain weight, just like arsenicum album, which is intended to stop itching, will make you itch if you've chosen poorly. Okay, yes, there we go. Thank you, Jen, Kelly, Pat. Staphysagra is the remedy for clean incision. You bet. Yep, Staphysagra, says Lori. Yep, just used it yesterday, says Jen. Jules says Staphysagra. Phoenicia, Staphysagra. Oh, you liked the pie recipe? Oh, I know. And that's not my pie. I mean, we just took a stock photo. But my gosh, I love meat pies. And so I have to tell you, friends, that's what I've stopped eating. And another thing, let me just tell you about weight. I'm Italian. I love to cook. Food is a big part of my culture. It's always been a big part of all of my family. When my brother and I talk, and we talk regularly, we talk, what did you make for dinner? How did you do it? What kind of sauce did you use, etc. Well, my husband's family from New England talks about weather. We talk about recipes and food. My entire life it's been like that. And I have had to come to a moment in my life. I had to squarely look at the problem for myself, and that was I was looking at food as entertainment. And I have to change that. I still am having a hard time with it, but as soon as I take entertainment out of the eating equation, it changes everything and makes something else entertainment. Going for a walk with my husband, spending time with my grandbaby. Those are the kinds of things that I need to concentrate on. And of course, they've always have been entertainment. But doing that alongside all of the cooking and the food preparation and the eating is what had to be removed. I thought too much about food, and so that's one of my, if I could give you one big takeaway, consider that. Let's see. Does syzygium jam help to normalize blood sugar, or can it make blood sugar go too low? Well, all of these medicines are intended to make the correction. If you use the medicine incorrectly, in other words, far too long, or if it was never valuable in the first place, it never measured up, it never matched in the first place, it can bring it to a more severe level. Drink too much water throughout the day, my friends, and you will have kidney problems. Anything can cause that. Eat too much salt and you'll have blood pressure problems. Eat too many peaches and you could have allergic reactions when you wouldn't if you just had one or two. So you see where I'm going with this. Can it do? Yes, these medicines can. And you know how you know? You're going to read in your Materia Medica. And if you don't own a Materia Medica, you should own one immediately. And if you don't, if it's not something that you can afford right now, go online. And I say this every week. Go to, these are free Materia Medicas that you can just go to and open the book through. It's a PDF, I believe they're PDF files. So Dr. Boricke, Boricke, Dr. Boricke. And if you don't get these names now, listen to this tonight or tomorrow and it'll be all repeated. Dr. James Tyler Kent, these are all Materia Medicas that are online at no cost. And Dr. Fatak, Phatak. And then you really should own some Materia. I have a Materia Medica that I've published. That makes it super easy. It's more modern than the ones that I'm telling you to look at, but you should be looking at them. One of my clients took syzygium more often than I told him to, and he dropped his too low. Yeah, well, he was doing it wrong. You have to do things properly. Do you need to give a rash a full 6 to 8 weeks to observe change at a pearl? No, I would hope that if it's itchy, you might see a change within a day or two. 3 days, 4 days, something like that. Okay, we have, okay, oh, it's 8:34 already, alrighty. Okay, so I'm going to go to my mighties, and I'll say goodbye to my general group. And remember, our default is good health, my friends. And then also the person who takes medicines, drugs, must recover twice, once from the disease and once from the medicine.
And the one who's having a hard time getting in mighties, call the office.
Yeah, the person who's having a hard time getting into mighties, please call my office tomorrow morning. We'll make sure that you get up and running. All righty, my friends. Those who are my mighties, stay with me.